Good morning. Happy Earth Day. Welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. Please stand as you are able and join us in singing Morning Has Broken.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's dew falls and lit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, spring in completeness where his feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden so plain. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation on the new day. For the beauty of the earth, for the glory of the skies, for the love which from our birth over London place lies. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the beauty of each hour of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
Good morning. And welcome to Unity. My name is Jennifer Hooker, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our service this morning. Before we get started, let's please take a moment to check our cell phones, pagers, and anything else that rings, pings, or makes noises. And if you could please make sure it's in the completely off position. Please also join me in waving hello to our online friends. We truly appreciate you joining us this morning, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. We are blessed to have as our musicians today Chip and Nancy Dunavant and David Brooks and Larry Curtin. Please also join me in welcoming back to Unity of Walnut Creek our special guests, Joyce and Barry Vassell. Joyce and Barry have been deeply in love for 47 years. Together they have raised 3 children and they walk their talk. Their model of relationship and deeply heart-oriented approach has made a unique impact on many thousands of lives. As a result of worldwide interest in their books, which are available in our bookstore, they have been conducting workshops on relationship, parenting, and personal growth. And this afternoon at 2 p.m., they will be leading a workshop on living from the heart. We have long looked forward to Barry and Joyce's return because they have truly inspired us in embracing heartfelt living. Next October, Joyce and Barry, with their guest musician Charlie Thweet, will be leading a pilgrimage to Assisi, Italy. They will be signing their books in the bookstore after the service. Barry and Joyce, we are so pleased to have you with us today. Let's open our service by focusing our intention through our opening affirmation. Please join me in prayerfully and powerfully speaking it together 3 times. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Again, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And once again, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And let's continue by reading aloud the statement of our unity. God's love is within each of us, guiding us to dynamically express our wholeness, wisdom, and abundance. We acknowledge the universal wisdom in the Christ teachings and in all spiritual paths. I now choose to open to the presence of divine love and to be changed at depth. Throughout this sacred time, God is uplifting me and through my heart, the world. And now our heart minister, Jack Schaefer, will read from Unity's Daily Word.
The word for today is blessed earth. God's loving spirit permeates every atom of creation. Today, I open eyes and ears to behold the boundless variety and beauty of nature. A snowflake, a grain of sand, a glacier, a fawn, a fish, a colorful chameleon, the loud clap of thunder, the rhythmic lap of a wave against the shore, the inspiring sight of an eagle in flight. From the tiniest seed of potential to a tall stand of trees stretching up to the heavens, our blessed earth reveals the infinite expression of spirit. Today, I breathe in the blessings of this wonderful planet. A deep appreciation of all life surges from within as I consider that God is within me and God is everywhere present. The love and life of God are abundantly on display, and I am grateful. From the scripture, James 5:18. Then he prayed again, and the heaven gave rain, and the earth yielded its harvest. The affirmation for today: I am in awe of earth's bountiful blessings. Repeat that, please. I am in awe of earth's bountiful blessings. And once more. I am in awe of earth's bountiful blessings.
There's a sweet, sweet spirit
see Jack or Suzanne at the welcome table. All are invited, whether you are new to Unity or have been joining us for many years. The Be Peace Foundation's course is coming here to Unity of Walnut Creek in June. If you would like to volunteer to help prepare us for the course or to register, please visit the patio and the bookstore after the service. And now Susan Galvin and Sheila Gautreaux have something to say about the women's retreat.
Hi, SG. We have a new rule. All assistant ministers must have the initials SG.
So, there's a retreat coming up, right?
I heard that.
Yeah, and so why would I go on a retreat? I mean, can I just stay home, turn off the phones?
No. This is what we call an out-of-life experience. You step out into the familiar, the framework of your life and your environment, all your tasks, duties, stuff. And just take yourself to be with other women in a beautiful rural setting and explore the depths within each other, and just unfold into the light together.
That sounds really good. So, are we gonna sit around a campfire and say kumbaya?
Maybe. We're going to we have a whole program. It's not a workshop, it's an experience. And we are going to move, we're going to sing, we're going to create, we're going to pray, we're going to meditate, we're going to dance, we're going to eat, and some of us will sleep.
So, okay, then maybe I'll attend. I'll think about it, and then maybe I'll go, SG.
Better hurry, because it's filling up fast.
Okay, all right. So, come check us out there by the table, come talk to us, and we'll give you reasons to keep your phones on and get away. Right, SG?
That's right.
Okay.
If you are here with us for the first time, we invite you to please raise your hand and keep it up for just a moment so that we can bring you a shell lei. On that lei is an affirmation we share with each of you that says, just as God has a design for every shell of the sea, so God has a design for your life. We would like to extend our special blessing to you, everyone new to our services, both here and online. We love you, we bless you, and we behold the light of God shining through you. Welcome. And before the music begins, please take a moment to enjoy greeting the people around you.
Come back, wherever you are.
Sit down and let the Spirit flow.
Come back, whatever you do.
There's so much more in store for you. We've got music, we've got fun, we've got a message that is just for you. We've got prayer, we've got peace, and maybe a surprise or two. Come back, wherever you are. Sit down and let the Spirit flow. Come back, There's so much more in store for you. There's so much more in store for you. There's so much more in store for you.
And I would like to invite Joyce to the platform to lead our meditation. We invite you to prepare for our time of prayer and meditation, which will begin through music.
So let's all take a deep breath. What I'd like us all to do is to imagine a beautiful light surrounding us. You might imagine the wings of an angel. And this light, this energy, is the unconditional love of God. Surrounding us and holding us, even in our darkest places. This unconditional love doesn't just love us when we're performing well. This unconditional love loves us all the time. When we're sad, when we're down, whatever is our state of consciousness, we are still in this love. And feel this unconditional love as our greatest gift. A gift that was there before we came into these bodies, gift that was there the moment we were born. And a gift that is there every day of our lives. We are so worthy of God's love. And we don't have to do anything to earn that love. That love is our gift. So before we go into the silence, I'd like to just speak the last verse of the 23rd Psalm. Surely your mercy and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life. So in these moments of silence, may we feel this love. And in coming out of the silence, I just would like to repeat that verse again. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life. And now allow the singing and the music to even deepen that feeling that we are loved by God, that we are God's precious children.
Hear our prayer, O Lord. Hear our prayer, O Lord. had been able to cure her. She had tried all kinds of remedies and gone to many doctors. One day, she heard about Jesus and how he was a holy man who could and would heal people. That's about all she knew about him, but on the strength of that, she decided to go to him. But when she got there were so many people around him that she couldn't get his attention. So she thought, if I can just get to him and touch him, I will be cured. She inched her way closer and closer. Several times she almost reached him, but the mob would swing one way, then another. Finally, her fingers touched the edge of his garment, and she was healed. Jesus stopped, looked around, and said, "Who touched me?" Seeing that she had been discovered, the woman spoke in a timid voice. "I did, sir. I didn't want to appear too bold, so I quietly touched you." And he looked at her, smiled, and said, "Your faith has made you whole."
There was nowhere else to turn and nowhere else to go. My body knew all the pain a body can know. When I quietly turned to you, I quietly turned to you. Help of the helpless, I turn to you. When no one else would help and no one else could hear my cries full of anguish, my cries full of fear, then I quietly turned to you. I quietly turned to you. Hope of the hopeless, I turn to you. I saw you standing there. I saw the beauty from you beaming. I saw the peace, the joy, the perfect love that could be. Oh, I saw you standing there. I thought that I was surely dreaming, for suddenly warmth and love and joy were shining through me. As you quietly turned to me, you quietly turned to me. Friend of the friendless, you turn to me. Now I know such perfect peace. I feel such sweet release. Your love let me live again. Your love set me free. Help of the helpless, friend of the friendless, I quietly turn to you, and you turn to me.
prayer support for challenges or celebrations, please ask our heart ministers. They will be available after the service here in the sanctuary and also on the patio. Our heart ministers are the ones wearing the lavender stoles. You are also invited to place a prayer request in our prayer box by the front door in the book center or online by pressing the prayer request button. We will be praying with you throughout the week. It's now time for our prosperity celebration. Yeah, that's, I know,
It's your turn. Take the stage.
Maybe we're done and we should leave?
I think we should actually give applause to Jennifer.
Yes.
I love when people make mistakes, because I don't even know if you did, but it just makes me feel better about myself, because I make a lot of mistakes too.
Nobody here makes mistakes, right?
And you.
I made the mistake. She didn't.
Oh, all right. Well, it was very cute, both of you. It was a great introduction to us coming up. So, yeah. So I just want to check my, okay. So we've been together 47 years, and for the past 35 years, we've been working in the area of relationship, helping people to open their heart, helping them to love and connect, working with couples and families. That's our main work. But today we're going to give a little bit different talk, and it's actually on death and dying. And quite normally, when you hear that the subject is death and dying, you think it's sort of a downer, kind of. And what we want to do is bring an excitement to the subject and an inspiration for all of us, really. So we'll go back and forth in our talk. And we had an amazing experience, Barry and I and our 3 children. We took care of my mother, who was 90 years old, for the last year of her life when she was dying. And it had such a profound effect on all 5 of us. Our son was only 17 at the time, and he participated not as fully as the rest of us, but he took her places, he took her for walks, he took her to church. He actually didn't stay at the church. He brought her to the church. He brought her to the church, then he went someplace, and he came and picked her up. But
17.
He's 17. I think he went to Surf City or something. And but we all participated fully, right that whole year, right through her the last 3 weeks of her life, and when she died. And it affected us so strongly. But this story really begins when I was 27 years old. We had just moved to Scotts Valley near Santa Cruz, and my mother came for a visit from Buffalo, New York, and she sat me down and she said, "I have something very important to tell you, that I've been thinking about this a lot, and I want you, when it's my turn to die, I want you to be excited for me, because I know that God loves me so much. And why would a God that loves us all so much not plan the best adventure for the end?" And I heard my mother's words, but it sort of came out of there was no segue into this. And I'm like, "Mom, I I could never be excited for you to die. I love you. She took my hand and she said, you're my daughter, and I know you will give this to me as my final gift. So, fortunately I had many more years to be with my mom, and whenever I would think about it, I would just feel this sadness. But when in fact, that last year of her life, I remembered very clearly, and I thought, I can give her this gift. And Barry and I talked, and we talked with our 3 children, and we all decided this is her wish. She wants us to approach her dying process as if she were going on the cruise of a lifetime, as if she were, like, it was the best trip that she'd ever taken. And so at first it was a little bit forced. When we saw her declining so rapidly, we'd go home and have our tears and our feelings, and then we'd try and be there in happiness for her. But that quickly left, because my mom, because she was so determined that this was to be her greatest adventure, she focused on that. And she didn't focus on all the other things that were going wrong. A body that didn't work, a body that was in pain, a body that was forgetful sometimes. She focused on this goal, that God loves her so much and is planning and bringing her through the greatest adventure of her life. And so each day, she was able to share with us what she was experiencing. She was as fully in the heaven world as she was in this world. And she was speaking of angels and people that had passed on before her. She was getting final instructions and just experiencing all this light and love and heavenly music. And she was able to share all that with us. So it wasn't hard to be excited for her.
So I actually didn't want to write this book. I was kind of on this track, of we're so into, our work is relationship and healing and personal growth, but this experience of being with Joyce's mom, like Joyce said, it really did change a lot. For one thing, there is this prevalent syndrome called DOD. Anybody know what that is? Denial of death. Anybody in denial of dying? Really, we are too. It's really hard to actually think about your own death, let alone somebody else's death. And Joyce's mom came along and just kind of blew everything away for us. There's a few things that I want to share, but this first one is about how we all have those who have passed on. We have some really close loved ones. And do you ever just sit and talk to them? Or ask for help when you really are needing help? Because the truth is, they're always close. If they loved you in this lifetime, they're with you. They're close to you. And just a little example from this book that, and by the way, I was reluctant to write this. Joyce, this was your baby, and she was so excited about it. And I got so excited about it, and people are now saying it's our best book. So be it, But anyway, there was, to give an example of the power of the relationship of love that keeps going on after death. In the last couple of weeks of Louise's life, Joyce's mother's life, she had her first visit with her husband, who passed on 8 years before. Now, in those 8 years, she talked with him but it was a one-sided conversation. She couldn't hear what he was saying, and she couldn't see him or feel him. But a couple of weeks before she passed, Joyce was in the room taking notes, and all of a sudden, there he was to her, visible and audible. And she was so excited. She said, "Hank, you look so good. What have they been feeding you up there?" But then there was a really serious time where, she was listening and she was realizing that he was there with her for everything. And she was so happy to hear that. And then there was a pause, and of course Joyce was sitting right there and taking these notes and only hearing her mother's side of the conversation, right? So then her mom said, "Yes, there is one thing that's really been weighing on me." Obviously, her husband is preparing her. Like, what do you have to let go of, right? And she said, "Why did Joyce take away my driver's license?" She was very human as well as spiritual, and this was a big deal. An older person, their driver's license is like their independence, right? And why did she take it? I was a good driver, and she just took it away. And the truth is that she was a really good driver up until she wasn't a good driver. And then it was no longer safe, and Joyce would talk to her, and she was insisting she was a good driver. And then finally, a policewoman came to our house and said, "Either you take away her driver's license or I will." And Joyce did, and she explained why, what had happened, and some near dangerous things. And she heard it for about 5 minutes. And then it was back to, "But why did you take it away? I was such a good driver." And Joyce enlisted her older brother's help to explain it to her mother. Didn't work. Her minister didn't work. Me didn't work. And then there was a long pause while she listened to her husband from the other side of the veil. And a long time, and Joyce was like crossing her fingers, right? Like, "Please, Dad, get through to her," right? And finally she said, "Oh, I really understand. I suppose I really owe an apology to Joyce." And she turned and she said, "Joyce, I'm so sorry. I just didn't understand. It wasn't your fault. It really was me." And I love that story because it's just a little illustration of the unique help that can happen across the veil of death. So if you need something answered in your life, actually just take a moment, close your eyes a moment, and just visualize or feel someone you love who has passed on. And that's them on the phone right now. And really, just because this person doesn't have a body, he or she is still loving you and protecting you and rooting for you and surrounding you in love and blessing you and willing to answer any questions, give you any support. Just feel it. They're present. It's we on this side who forget. Okay, take a deep breath, open your eyes, and Joyce.
So, another experience that that my mother had with people that had passed on before, she, well, my mother was towards the end of her life. She wasn't able to eat, and so we just stopped feeding her because it would mess up her digestion, and it would cause her a lot of pain. And so ladies from her church would come, and they wouldn't tell, my mother lived next door, and they wouldn't tell us that they were coming, and they would try and creep up the stairs with cookies. And I just found it really humorous. You know, these sweet little ladies, like 85 years old, and they're creeping up with their little brown bag of cookies, just sure that this was the cookie that she could eat. And I'd go, you know, it's really going to cause her a lot of pain if you give her that. So one day I heard all this, I heard my mother talking to all these people, and I thought, the ladies from the church have come again, and they're trying to give her cookies. And so I went up, to, check out the scene, and I walked in and no one was there. But my mom was actively talking, and she said, Joyce, come in, they're all here, my whole family. She was one of 8 siblings, and they had all died. The 7 had died before her, and her parents had died when she was very young. And she said, they're all here, and it's so wonderful. This is the happiest day. And this was the first time that my mom could see both me and those across the veil. So I was just enjoying this. I loved all these relatives too, though I'd never met my mother's parents. And all of a sudden she looked confused and she said, Bill, what are you doing here? And I was confused as well because we don't have a relative named Bill. She said, you shouldn't be here. And that was the end of that. And I kind of actually forgot about it. And then several months after my mom passed, I got a letter from Bill's wife. And she said that Bill had died 2 months before my mom. But she hadn't had the courage to write and tell my mother. She just didn't have the energy. And so she was letting her know now. So she was actually seeing Bill, and she had no idea that he had passed on. It's just like these are just little proofs that it's not just hallucinations, which medical science likes to believe that it is. At the end of this day, which was so special, she said that she wanted to have a little party, and I knew she'd only be awake for another half hour, so I called Barry and he came rushing over, and I called a friend who lived close and she came rushing over, and it was a very, very high moment, and I felt like my mother was just not really channeling, because she doesn't believe in that word, but she was channeling this very high wisdom. And I want to just read one thing. Now, we all know this. This is nothing new. But it's just a reminder. And it's a reminder, I think, from a very high place. And may it just touch your heart. This world has much to offer, but giving and receiving love is the most important. When you get close to the end of your life, like me, you'll be grateful for all the love that you gave and received. Nothing is more important. So we all know that. But so this is just a reminder. There's nothing more important. When it's our turn and we're ready to pass on, we're not going to regret that there's still emails in our inbox, or that we didn't work more time in the office, or that the house isn't clean. All the things, or there's weeds in the garden. None of that matters. It's, have I loved? And have I allowed love to come in?
So, in fact, this book is not a book about death and dying. It's a book about living in love. It's because that's what the whole lesson of this book is. It's about love. Yeah. So, how are we doing? Maybe a little bit more? A couple of minutes? Okay. Yeah, we have to be punctual, right?
Be with your time
Is that
schedule.
okay?
We actually have
Jennifer said yes.
We actually have 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes, okay. How can I do that? I don't think I can. I might take just a couple of minutes. Okay, so being with if you have a chance to be with someone who's dying, drop everything, really, drop everything. People know the powerful energy around birth, right? That's like, everybody knows that. But people don't realize death is the same energy. It's the same powerful energy. There are some big surprises when you're with someone who's dying. You know, you have to be prepared for surprises at every moment. One day, really close to the end, Louise had been just, can you hold this a second? Oh, sure. She'd been lying in her hospital bed in her apartment, motionless, really, and unable to move. And I just felt, this is it, and we tiptoed across and without any cookies,